right, so I started the recording and it's 1:06 and I'll keep monitoring the waiting room, Katrina. But if you want to go ahead and get started, you can go ahead. Oh, well, let me actually introduce myself really fast. So I'm Teresa Buick and I'm with the Regional Centers for Workforce Transformation. I'm a Region 1 co-lead, so I work in Rochester, New York with Heritage Christian Services. And I'm the Associate Director for Workforce and Talent Development here. And I've been working also as a co-lead for the regional centers since I think about 2017. So I'm really busy, but I enjoy facilitating these workshops and I'm excited to work with Katrina today.
Hey guys, my name is Ketrina. I'm also one of the sub-advocacy leads for the Regional Centers for Workforce Transformation. I represent Region 4, but we are also now statewide. I'm also former Miss Wheelchair in New York 2018. I'm a sub-advocate and disability advocate, a certified life coach, and I wear many other hats, but today you will hear my story through my Dream Big self-confidence through self-advocacy journey. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you guys have any questions or anything or any comments, you can feel free to post them in the chat and we'll go through them at the end.
Ready for slide one?
Yes. So dream big, is it that simple? Oftentimes it's not that simple. There's many obstacles that come along the way, but today I will share with you guys my journey. So where there is hope, there is possibilities. We know that the last few years or months hasn't been easy for everyone. It's been a challenging time for everyone, including myself. So everyone needs a little light of happiness, and through my story with cerebral palsy and how different supports impacted my life, I hope you will find some hope. Today you will hear about my journey, how it really began when I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at 9 months old. On this slide is a picture with me, my mom, dad, sister. The next picture in the purple background, the picture of me, my mom and dad, and godmother. As my parents began raising me with an open book, they had to adapt to a whole new world, better yet the term cerebral palsy. They had to have a new outlook on the disability community as well. I watched each and every step of my parents with me growing up, and for that reason is the reason I want to give hope and share hope and possibilities with others today. It's truly beyond words. Low expectations were created for my life at a very young age. It's always a question in my mind, where do I start? So this slide is a picture of me when I was, I think, in preschool with one of my physical therapists at that time. I often look at the picture and say that I was very flexible back then. So much have changed since then, but the reality of my school life is that when I was getting ready to go to public school, a school psychologist came to evaluate me, and because I was very shy when I was younger, and didn't speak to anyone besides my mom and dad, she assumed that I didn't know my colors, and she made a recommendation to the Department of Education that I should be placed in a classroom with children who were considered mentally retarded at that time. So as a result of that, my mom had to have like a fair hearing with the Department of Education to advocate for me and tell them that she knows that I do know my colors and I do know things. And my teacher was also on the call to explain that they have seen tremendous growth in me and I don't like really deserve to be placed in a setting like that. Um, so like I said before, growing up, I was very shy and only spoke to my mom, dad, and siblings. Many others, including close family members, would just get a simple hi and smile. As a young girl, I heard girls are not supposed to be loud in order to be seen, so I stayed quiet. But that was also a part of my personality as well. Um, it was also followed by school administrators having a problem with me not speaking to them. I was always with the ears to listen and the mind always going. Wouldn't you love to have a student like that? I was left out of trips, almost all my senior activities in both middle school and high school, even for my name to be called at my high school award ceremony. Um, I wondered if it would be the same if my mom did not attend my high school senior meeting, searching for to sign my name under the high school graduates, and my name wasn't there. Um, I was also in a classroom besides of a closet with no windows for just about my entire 4 years in high school, but just about the whole entire 3 years until I started to fight and write letters to people about how I was being treated and being put in a classroom with 15 other students, um, and it had no windows. Um, Today I describe that like as a little jail and that I had to escape from. Um, we only had class on the first floor as students with disabilities who were in special education. Yes, that's really true. I often said, how can I be so big yet so small? Um, in 2011 was the day I found my voice and started to share my story by creating my very own website called TrinaFightForRights.com. And I wanted to share different experiences and different things with everyone so that I don't feel alone and others don't feel alone as well. In 2012, I received home modifications to my home. I began receiving services from OPWDD since 2009, where I began receiving case manager support and then receiving family support services from United Cerebral Palsy, now called Adopt Community Network, where they were able to make home modifications to my home and make it safe for me. I remember when I was younger, my home wasn't made accessible for me, so we had stairs to enter in and out. And my dad built a ramp for me made out of like plywood, and it wasn't always safe for me, especially in the wintertime when it snowed. It was slippery, and my mom would have to like jump in front of me to hold the chair down and have me be able to exit in and out of my home. So that's a picture of it. And now it's safe and fun, and I often call it like my little balcony because I get to stay at the top when the weather is nice and enjoy the weather. So in 2013, after my high school, actually, only plan they had for me was to go to a day program due to my many physical disabilities and my focus really being on making sure that I received the proper services, such as like occupational therapy and physical therapy. They felt a day program would be the best fit for me, but I really just wanted to find a job or go to college. Um, they didn't give me a proper transition plan, so I had no idea what a transition plan was at the time. So with the support of myself and my mom and dad, um, I spent the entire summer working through the obstacles and everything to make sure I got the proper supports to be able to enroll in college in the fall right after I graduated high school, because I didn't want to stay home and just do nothing. So I enrolled at Kingsborough Community College, where they provided me all the supports and everything that I needed to attend college throughout the day. But one thing about college is that accommodations are not just given to us, we have to ask for it. They're not gonna basically hold our hands and do it for us. College was where I truly felt included and accepted. I took part in many things at my college. I took part in many honor societies when the opportunities came across. I accepted each and every one of them, where I got to really like celebrate it and be honored for it. Like they never forgot to call my name. Um, they always made sure I was involved. I was invited to the awards dinner with my parents. I took part in student ambassador program with other students who didn't have disabilities. As a result, I got to go on a student ambassador retreat. Um, the college made the accommodations to ensure that they had accessible school bus, accessible accommodations when we got to the resort for the retreat. Um, the rooms had a ramp for me to enter in and out. It was really awesome. The students really bonded with me, and they kind of considered me brave for no matter what, like just showing up and being a part of it. We had fun playing games at night. We had one particular event where only the students were allowed to be there, so they didn't want to leave me out since I needed additional support. So they invited me to come, and they got like a lazy man type couch, and they put it with pillows and everything for me to sit in it, because I wasn't able to bring my wheelchair with me, but my dad was able to bring me, and I was able to spend the time with them, and they all sat next to me, so just in case I start falling over, they just pushed me back up. It was a great experience. I did like the graduation ballroom dance event. Since we were student ambassador, we represented the college and went to events. So I went to the graduation event, and I also got like an internship volunteer position to reach the students in schools through an organization called Reading Partners. So in college is where I really got to expand on things, and I think in college is where I really found my intelligence. You can go to the next one. In 2014, I was asked to share my story for the very first time on a stage with over 500 people. It was the Woman Who Care event that United Cerebral Palsy of New York City used to have before they branded to Adapt Community Network. I shared my story on how their services impacted me and made me more confident. When I was asked to do this opportunity, they told me that if I said yes, that remember that my life would never be the same again because I couldn't like hide anymore and like say I was shy or just right at my computer. They knew like people were gonna ask me to speak at different places. They were right along the way, but I didn't think it would become this dream big type picture. In 2014, I graduated from Partners in Policy Making, where I became a well-trained and educated advocate for people with disabilities and their families. The program was funded through Cornell University, the New York State Disabilities Planning Council, and the Advocacy Center. And here's a picture of my certificate. Also in 2014, students with disabilities like myself began to get a seat at the table. I began to serve on the youth advisory panel for special education. Many different news outlets reached out to me as I was accepted to serve on this for me to share my experience within the New York City public school system. So I did that, and I was also featured in like the Able News and Chartbeat, I think. Yeah. So that's a picture of me and a group of the students after a panel in Albany. In 2014, one of my dreams were granted. I speak about dream big because many of my dreams came through as I got older and not really as a kid. It was because I was able to find different ways and opportunities to get things done. So in 2014, Matthew Givenchy Foundation granted me my wish to have an adaptive bike. I remember when I was younger going to the Special Olympics out in Long Island, and they would often have like the free trial bikes that you can try out just in case you want to purchase it. But it was expensive, and I knew like my parents couldn't afford it at the time. So every time I go, I would make sure I get a ride on one, and I always would say I want on. So I think right before a couple months before I turned 18, I applied for a wish granted to receive an adaptive bike, and I filled out the application, and I was able to get it granted. Although when I got it granted, I turned 19, but the good thing I applied was when I was 18 before the age limit ran out. In 2016, another one of my childhood dreams came through the Sunshine Foundation. They granted me my childhood dream to Disney World, and here's a couple of photos of me enjoying that dream. My parents were also able to come with me on that dream trip, and we had a great time. I think we spent just 7 days. It was really fun, and we visited different places, saw different cartoon characters. and do different things. In 2016, I started my very own advocacy group after trying to join different advocacy groups within agencies, but oftentimes in order to be involved in different agencies, advocacy group is that they have the idea that you have to be a part of their program in order to be a part of their groups and things like that. So I went about and found a library who has like community rooms where you can have meetings, and I started my very own advocacy group called Voices of Power, to bring advocacy and disability awareness into the community, but also to try to find students with disabilities who are interested in learning some advocacy skills, because um, this is something that I wish was taught to me when I was in school, was advocacy. So I found a transition coordinator who works for a school, and she invited her students to come and join the group as well and learn with me. So here's a picture of the group and the extent of my advocacy work. Like I mentioned before, I wear many different hats. So I serve on the Language and Competency Work Group for the Developmental Disabilities Planning Council. I got many certificates from Youth Power within advocacy. I believe the last certificate I got from them was I attended the University of Youth Power, where I majored in peer advocacy.
Yeah.
And the third one is a picture of me with the group. I now serve on the Developmental Disability Planning Council, and I'm also now the chair of the Individuals and Families Committee. This one is one of like my biggest highlights, was my international mission trip to the Caribbean. My parents are from the Caribbean, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's near like Barbados, about 30 minutes away from Barbados. And it's in the Caribbean, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's not very accessible, so I often don't take trips there. For that reason, they're not accessible. Um, Most of the people with disabilities, if not all, are kept at home due to like a sense of shame or pity related to disability. And so I went there when I was a baby. I went there when I was about 12 years old, and then I never returned until my last trip for the international mission trip in 2017. I made a brave trip again, and I told my mom and dad, if you guys are going, I'm going too. I'm going to see my family, and I'm actually not only going to see my family, I'm gonna plan a mission trip, because I got to learn about why you don't see people with disabilities. I wanted to talk to them about it, do different things. So one of my cousins are very good at community involvement, and I reached out to her and said, I'm coming, can you book me some events for me to speak at? And she did. So I got to speak at a police youth club, which she runs for young people, and I got to share with them what it's like to be a person with a disability. Because as I spent 12 days there, every time I rolled out, people were just staring, just because they saw me going out and about, and I wasn't bothering with them. I often had to say, watch out for the cracks in the road, because again, it's not accessible, so the roads kind of are hilly and things like that. I had to be carried up and down like a hill because where we were staying was a steep hill, so I often had to be carried down and up. Um, in terms of getting around, they had like open back vehicles, so I had to request only those like open back vehicles or vans that were able to take my manual chair with me because I wasn't able to take my power chair with me. So people often had to help lift and carry me in the wheelchair down the stairs. The young people, again, they never seen a person with a disability before, so they were very impressed about my story, but they were also shy because they didn't really know what to say. And then I also got to visit the school for children with disabilities and share my story with parents because school was out at that time, so the community really got the opportunity to come around and hear me speak. I told them that I shared my story and I shared with them a letter of support that I wanted to support them in whatever way I can. So they also shared with me that they're not supported by the government. It's basically a private school. The government doesn't support the students with disabilities, so they rely on donations and things like that. So when I returned, our tradition to send things to the Caribbean is like we send a barrel of supplies to them. So I send them school supplies and food about the year after I returned, and so I became a supportive member to them after sharing my experience and doing different things. And now I want to do more international mission trips. I don't know where yet. In October 2017, I was crowned Miss Wheelchair in New York 2018. This was like another historical moment. My platform here was to bring self-advocacy into schools and make it more inclusive. I spoke for, I also competed for Miss Wheelchair in New York the year before, and I didn't win that year, so I returned the next year and I won that year. So it was pretty good because it's being Miss Wheelchair in New York is not like a beauty pageant. It's about advocacy and empowerment for women who uses wheelchairs and people with disabilities. So I got to do many amazing appearances throughout the way. And in the next slide, you'll see some pictures. I wore my crown for 2 years and I did many amazing things. Everything can't fit on this slide, so I picked 2. And one is that I got connected with the Department of Education in terms of doing disability awareness for employees. I got connected with the Transition College Access Center to talk to educators and students with disabilities about self-advocacy and what self-advocacy should look like for their students. I also got connected with the Girl Scouts. Here in New York City, they have Girl Scout troops for girls with disabilities who are in District 75 school settings. And I got to travel to different areas of the state to just share my story, visit schools, and just talk to children about what it's like to have a disability. In 2017, the light to my future began. I found out about supported decision making, which is an alternative to guardianship, and knew this was something that I always wanted to do, because from the moment I turned 18, my case managers will continue to speak to my parents, speak to me about when are you ready for guardianship. My mom and dad often said, "Why do I need guardianship? I'll be there to support my daughter whenever she needs me to." Um, so we never went through the process for guardianship, and I was happy when I found out about supported decision making, because it just bringed my supporters that I already had in my life to an official place to say, can you guys really stand up and show that you guys are, are a part of my life and I want to be a part of it for as long as you can. So I began the process for supported decision making, identifying areas in my life that I needed support in, and who will support me in those areas. Over time, up till today, um, they support me in different areas, but I also consider them one village, because they all hear all different parts of my story, all different parts of my experience, and they're just there for me. So in December of 2018, I signed my supported decision making agreement, um, alongside a notary. Paperwork was printed and signed before a notary. My supporters were there. Those who couldn't be there signed electronically, and this is a collage of all of my supporters. Um, One is actually my high school para who worked with me for 4 years in high school and 1 year in middle school. It's one of them is my mom. Um, she supports me in terms of medical decisions. My godmother as well. If my mom is not able to do it, I'm able to say, "Hey, can you come with me?" Or "What do you think about this?" Well, they all hear those kind of questions no matter what the situation is. So I'm glad to see that I have a village, because not all my family members are involved. If any, it's very few. So when they really stood up and say, you never had to ask that question, I'll be here for you, it meant so much to me. They're basically now my allies. And because of my circle of support, I feel more empowered to speak up, because I know my supporters are by my side. They don't care whether it's sad or happy times. They want to hear about it, but they want to hear about it, but they also want to hear, how will I rise up from any situation? We have conversations about things that I would like to accomplish. Just recently, one of my supporters, I was telling her about one of my things that I would like to accomplish, and she said to me, "I know once it's your dream that you'll make it happen." And she was one of the supporters who, um, when I was having a difficult time in college, um, she didn't care what time of the night it was. She would call me and say, "I don't care. You're not giving up." So it's always just a happy time. They help me see the future to my dreams clearly, and truly, truly, because of them, I earned my college degree. After a conversation with one of my supporters, when I became Miss Wheelchair in New York, I had told one of my supporters, these kids or young people that I see with disability, every time I go to visit them, they are enlightened by the crown and the sash that I wear, and they say they want to be like me. So we had a conversation about that, and she said, you should create a 3D doll of yourself. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna make that happen? So we did research. We found 2 different places. One were pretty pricey, so we didn't pick that one. I went to Vivid. I said, hey, that one is not gonna work because it's too much money. The second one we found was pricey but affordable that I could have done, and I was able to go to do 3D. They had one here in the city, and they created a 3D doll figure of me with the crown and the sash. So now I take it around with me when I was able to do in-person event, and I show it to them as an action figure of me, and I hope to eventually one day create more and be able to learn how to create action figures for other kids growing up with disabilities. In January 2020, I joined the Regional Census for Workforce Transformation as a self-advocacy lead. I was literally a semester away from graduating with my associate's degree. I had no idea what I was going to make out of this position, but now I'm finding my way in, doing amazing things with my career as a self-advocacy lead. And it's just amazing to see the tremendous growth and how everyone work as a team and make things happen for me. What do I do as a self-advocacy lead is I connect with others, organizations, self-advocates for them to learn about the regional centers for workforce transformation, the core competencies, other OPWDD services and supports offered. I connect with direct support professionals, self-advocates to see how they have been impacted during this time, like COVID. I develop trainings and presentations, which I think I'm getting even better at. Tomorrow I'm doing one on person-centered planning. And I get to connect and share my story like I'm doing here today. In June 2020, I graduated with my associate's degree. Here's a picture of my graduation slide that says something very amazing that I wrote. It says, as a child, my dreams were shattered due to my disability and beyond, but now I can fly within my dreams and passions. So can you become who you want to be? And I got my associate's degree in liberal arts through the reverse transfer program at Kingsborough Community College, because I took classes at many different schools before getting to the point of being able to graduate, because I wanted to take some classes online. And I also struggled with math, so I wasn't able to pass like the math remedial, but I was able to take a math course as a non-degree student at another college, and I end up amazingly passing that with an A. Another part of my story is I live in an underserved community, and living in an underserved community like mine is known as the hood. Um, they have very low expectations of young people and people with disabilities. Only 6 to 7% of students with disabilities graduate college in general, and only like 16% graduate from high school in my community, and 32% has a bachelor's degree. So I often say that I gotta rise up against so much, because I live in an underserved community. a woman of color, and I use a wheelchair. So which one is it? And that's the high school that I went to in the picture. Yeah. So every time I pass there, it always just reminds me of how far I've come. And those are graduation photos of me. But in July of 2020, I graduated from Respectability Women Speakers Bureau. Here is a group of me, and these women also are allies and people with disabilities as well. So I'm a national speaker for them. And in July of 2020, I was officially approved for self-direction services through OPWDD. This represents freedom for me and independence, and I'm sure that it'll open many new doors for me. In January 2020, I was able to take a course and become a certified life coach. What do I specialize in? I specialize in youth. I specialize in people with disabilities. I want to work with parents who just recently have children that have been diagnosed with a disability, so I can help them along the way. And I also specialize in disaster and recovery coaching for anyone. And I think for me, a disaster can be just being diagnosed with a disability. And in October 2020, a new vision for me was born, and I developed Disability Champion Mentoring Network with the support of a professor from SUNY Albany who's helping me make the official things possible, but it's my vision, and I'm the founder of it. It'll be a mentor program for students with disabilities who's transitioning from high school into whatever their heart desires, and I'll share the video with you guys. I think you have to share the sound again.
No? Hi, Nanny.
Can you guys hear it?
It's strange. So you guys can't hear it? I can hear it.
I think you have to share the sound again.
All right, let's try this.
My own path.
Here now?
Getting to know you and learning about your transition.
I can hear it.
At University of Albany's Equity and Transition Summit inspired collaborative action.
Yeah, I'm good.
A network addressing the intersections of disability with race, gender identity, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status.
Growing up, I did not have a formal support system outside of my family to teach me advocacy. As a person with a disability, I understand the importance of having a diverse village of advocates and allies supporting me. Through Disability Champions, I can be one of those supporting advocates.
Transition is a tumultuous and tender time for all young people. For young people with disabilities, moving from secondary education to adult life is framed by federal mandates to create a plan for the future. We must go beyond the mandates. An equity focus at transition should prioritize the voice of the individual.
Countless days I lost courage, but I had a community of allies like the powerful community we would like to build through the Disability Champions Mentoring Network. After successfully graduating with an associate's degree from Kingsborough Community College, I envisioned the idea for disability champions.
Through mentorship and community building that includes young adults with disabilities as bridging mentors for many other supports, young people will find guidance and confidence to create a self-determined plan for the future.
A village can come together to make this happen for anyone, changing perspectives and opening doors to possibility. Join Disability Champions as we build a community network.
We have a place for parents. We have a place for community allies.
We have a place for young adult mentors. We have a place for high school youth. And we have a place for you. Come be a change maker and invest in the future. Everyone has a voice. Even the voiceless ones have a voice. One champion, one mentor, many pathways at a time. So I hope you guys like the video and um, let us know if you want to be a part of it and be involved in any way you want to be. It'll be amazing. And one thing that I also want to share is that I'm creating that program because I want to have other students with disabilities just be able to live the life they dream. And when I graduated in high school on paperwork, they only had me on a fifth or sixth grade level in either reading or math. Yet I passed Regents exams, which are in higher standards, and made it through college with 95% A's, which that could only tell the difference of how far they really expected students with disabilities to make it. And along the way, I met others who are living their best life. I met the actor from Speechless, and one of my very, very good friends is attending NYU College here in New York City on his way to become a disability rights lawyer. My plan since graduating college is I would like to start a nonprofit business, um, continue my work with the Regional Centers for Workforce Transformation, and to start working and publishing books. Um, one one is in progress, and I hope to have it published soon. Our allies, I like to share this message with our allies. Um, Embrace the unique way your child is blossoming, even if it's not the garden you imagine. If any of the students you work with, meet them where they are and help them grow from there. People with disabilities are capable of changing the world. Look at me as an example. Um, I'm Miss Wheelchair in New York, and I educate youth, the community, inclusive to include employees, partners, all in the disability community, teaching students with disabilities self-advocacy skills, and empowering girls and women with disabilities. Um, Tips, here are some tips. how people with disabilities are capable of changing the world. We each have unique gifts with different abilities. We have a voice that many do not hear. We are often invisible. We have potential and simply look beyond disabilities. Never be afraid to venture out, because throughout my life, I have been adaptive, surfing, adaptive, rock climbing. I even got to fly a glider's plane with the help of a pilot. I think that was in Philadelphia. And I got to speak at the student NAA student speak out event, which was pretty cool. My favorite message is successful people are not just those with a college degree, a job, and a house. It's those who follow what their heart desires. And that's a message from me. Now it's time for questions. Any questions?
Now's your chance. Who's got a question for Ketrina? Let's see, got the chat going down here. So let's see. If we wanted to get in touch with you, and I'll share my screen again. It says if we wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so, and would that be okay? So let me share my screen again. I didn't realize there was one more slide. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yep. Here's my contact information. You can reach me either way. Or you can share your emails in the chat, and I'll be sure to reach out to you. Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing because I can't see the chat when I stop sharing. Rebecca says, perfect, thank you. And Rebecca W says, wow, that was so inspirational. Thank you so much. Any other
You're
questions
welcome.
for Ketrina? All right, looks like that's all the questions for today. Anything else you want to share, Ketrina?
No, if there's anything that you think you would like me to share with your organization or groups or students that you have, feel free to let me know and reach out to me.
I'm just putting, in case you missed it, I put Ketrina's email in the chat, and I'll also put the website in here. Oh, let me do this. There's her website. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming today. I appreciate your time. And again, reach out to Ketrina if you have any questions or if you'd like to see anything more like this from the regional centers. We would be happy to share. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great day.
And you can also check out our website.
Yep, you can check our website for any future trainings that are coming up. Statewide meetings that we have, where we also have workshops and presenters that share. Everything is right on our website, which is workforcetransformation.org.
For those who are interested in reaching out to me, you guys can also share your emails so I can have it in my email. So when I see it from you guys, I'll know to reach back out to you.
I'll get these for you, Katrina.
Awesome.
I'm actually going to email you right now as we're talking, because I'll get
That's
off of
fine.
this and I'll forget. All right, so no other questions? We're good today?
Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Have a great day, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, we'll see you soon.
You too.
Bye-bye.
I'm copying these. Okay, so I just took a snip of their emails.
Okay. It's still recording.
Oh, thank you.